Hello and welcome to Mapping Sustainable Solutions with me, Kevin Thatcher. In this session we're going to look at non-parametric statistics. We talked before about parametric and non-parametric data and also why you need to have different types of statistical tests for different types of data. Today we're going to look at that in a bit more detail and go on to then look at the statistical tests that you need to do. So, in this lecture, you're going to gain an understanding of how non-parametric statistical tests work. As a non-parametric alternative to the t-test, which we did a couple of sessions ago, you'll learn how to use the Mann-Whitney U-test. You're also going to use the non-parametric Spearman's rank correlation as an alternative to Pearson's correlation that you used in the last session. So a recap on parametric and non-parametric data. Parametric data is data that has a normal distribution. That is to say, one that conforms to the standard normal distribution. If you remember, that's like the bell curve distribution of data. Non-parametric data, for one reason or another, does not conform to a normal distribution. So this may mean that the data is heavily skewed. It may mean that you have a very wide data range, meaning that again, the data doesn't conform to that normal distribution. It may be that the data is multimodal. It might have more than one peak to the shape of the distribution of the data. For any one of those reasons, will make the data non-parametric and unable to work with the existing parametric statistical tests. So that being the case, we then need to look at some alternative methods for analysing the data. So many statistical tests assume that population data conforms to a normal distribution. Now this includes the t-test that you've already used, Pearson's correlation coefficient. That's the standard correlation coefficient that you will find that spreadsheets use. It's always based on the Pearson's equation. And analysis of variance, or ANOVA. You haven't actually looked at that one yet, we'll be doing that next time. So in order to analyse non-parametric data, we need to use a different type of test. And we're going to look at two of those tests during today's session. First one we're going to look at is the Mann-Whitney U-test. And this basically does the same as the t-test that we've looked at, in that it compares two groups of data and tests if they are significantly different. Again, similar to how the t-test work, it tests a null hypothesis that there is no difference between the medians of the two groups. T-test, if you remember, compared the means of the groups. The critical difference is how the Mann-Whitney test achieves this, which is that it uses ranks of data rather than the actual numerical values of the data. So if we have a look at how it's calculated, this will show you a bit more about what that actually means. Here we are, we've got some data of an experiment looking at growth in seedlings of a plant with two different watering regimes. In one of the regimes, the plants are watered daily, and in the other one, they're watered every 3 days. And so we've got a bit of data there for each of those. What we then do is we take the data and order the data from smallest to largest. That's over the entire data set of both of the growing conditions that we've got. So on the left-hand side there, you can see that we've got data, while on the right-hand side, that is the order of the data. Now you can see there are some that have the same value on both sides. So 4, 6 and 7 occur in both of the sets of data. So what we're then going to do is we're going to assign rank values to each of the data points. So we start with the lowest one. The lowest value, 1, gets a rank of 1. The second one, which is 2, gets a rank of 2. The next one is 3, that gets a rank of 3. Now, the next one, when we get to 4, there are 2 of them. So they're assigned the mean of the two data values, so the rank values. So it would have been 4 and 5, because they're both the same, they're both assigned 4.5. and so on like that, until we get down to the very last value, which is a numerical value of 15, is assigned a rank of 12. So what that does is it assigns a numerical rank value to every single data point, but it allows it to even out the distribution of the points by using that rank value. Rather than us using the actual numerical data itself, we're then able to carry on with our analysis. So calculating the U statistic, first we calculate the sum of the ranks for both groups. So for daily, we get 50.5, and for watering every 3 days, we get 27.5. Now we use the formula for U to calculate a U value for each group. So that's for the group that were watered daily, and separately for the group that were watered every 3 days. And there are the two equations for that, for U1 and U2. So in that equation, N is the number of observations in the group, and R the sum of the ranks for the group. Now if we put our own data into that, we can see that we come out with, for U1, so that's the daily watering, a value of 6.5, and U2 a value of 29.5. We then take the lowest of those two values for the final result. In this case, that means that our U value comes out as being 6.5. Again, as I always say, don't worry too much about the calculation itself. What you really need to take away from this is how it was done, and particularly the process by which the data was put into ranks. So we have our final U value of 6.5. As we've then done with some other statistical tests, we then compare it against a table of critical values. And this is the critical values at the 0.05 probability level for Mann-Whitney U. And what we do is we take the number of individuals in each of the data groups and plot out on this table where that critical value is. Now for our first set of data, N1, we had 6, and N2 we also had 6. So if we then cross-reference those, we find that the critical value at the probability of 0.05 is equal to 5. So as our U value of 7.5 is greater than 5, we cannot reject the null hypothesis. Two samples do not show statistically significant difference. So exactly the same as we found with using the t-test. We put the data through a process which the t-test allows us to compare the means, and in the case of Mann-Whitney U, it allows us to compare the medians. Once we've got the final actual value for the statistic, in this case the U statistic, we compare it against a table of critical values, and that allows us to decide whether we can reject or accept the null hypothesis. So moving on from the Mann-Whitney U, let's look at Spearman's rank correlation. Exactly the same as Pearson's correlation that we looked at that works with parametric data, Spearman's rank is a method that compares data sets to look at how closely the data sets are associated. But similar to Mann-Whitney U, it works using ranks of data. So basically using the same process as we saw in Mann-Whitney to take the data and replace the actual numeric data with rank values instead. So here we have some data. Basically this is the number of cars in EU countries, data taken from 2018, plotted against their population. Now you can see we have quite a large variation in terms of the actual numeric values, so this makes this a good candidate for a non-parametric test. First, we rank the data. So that rank the data for population, and then rank the data for the number of cars. We then calculate the difference of the ranks. So that's basically just taking one value from the other. And that value is then squared. The purpose of doing that at this point in the analysis is basically to make all of the values positive. We then calculate the correlation coefficient. And the equation for the coefficient is given by this equation here. R equals 1 minus 6 times the sum of d squared divided by n cubed minus n. So for the data that we've got, we then get this value down here, which is R is 1 minus 6 times 4 divided by 8 cubed minus 8. That gives us a correlation coefficient of 0.95. In exactly the same way as we had with Pearson's correlation coefficient, a value of 1, which is the maximum value it can have, shows a very strong correlation. Value of 0 shows no correlation at all. Value of -1 will show a negative correlation. So what we can conclude here is there is a strong correlation between population size and the number of cars that are owned. So, let's review our learning outcomes. In this lecture, you'll have gained an understanding of how non-parametric statistical tests work. Specifically, you'll have seen with non-parametric tests how they use a ranking process to replace the use of the actual numerical data. You've learned how to use the Mann-Whitney test, and you've also used the non-parametric Spearman's rank. All that we need to do now is to go onto the tutorial where you can actually see how to calculate these using a statistical program.